All right, so let's continue where we left off. You guys and me, I'm going to keep welding up this. I got these all set. Got these in place here, so I'm going to go ahead and drill this and spot weld this. Finish welding this in. I had to get the other welder over here because this is what was happening. The 220 welder I can't adjust it. The old rheostats, I think, are, you know, they need to be cleaned. Every time I adjust it, it keeps resetting itself, and it just gets too hot, blows holes and stuff, and it's not very fun. So I've got the 110 welder over here again. You know, I'll take that thing apart one of these days and clean the rheostats and see if it works better, but I don't even know if it will. But anyway, I'll bring you guys back in when I get this welded in. Before the heat comes in, I just want to get all this done. Once this is all done, then it can be sanded down and filler put on a lot of this too. Because I really, except for, you know, right up near here where I've got to rip this off. So, you know, when I get to that, I think I'll do that in the other shop because I can use the air chisel out here. It's just too loud. So, you know, there's always that conscientious part of things working out here. So anyway, let's get it done. In case you're wondering how to clamp something like this, sometimes it's too far for your clamp to reach. You just use another piece of random flat metal or whatever. You can use bar, you can use square stock, whatever. And just use that to clamp it over here, and then it'll push down over there. Little idea for you guys that are doing metal work. Got some mountains to clean up there. That's what happens when it's not clean. Yeah, you know, this corner looks like crap, but remember, this is just I'm just gonna finger filler through there, and when that's done, you won't even see any of that. This I still need to do the inside. I'm just gonna do it from the other side because I can reach it. Under here, it's kind of hard to do welding upwards, so I would just weld the top and just put a filler in there because I end up filling that edge anyway. So that's gone in there. This is done. This is ground down. Working on this side, I got to do the same thing over here. So some of you guys don't like that I do that, but you know what? It's not your truck. All right, real quick, I wanted to share with you guys another thing. I'm not sponsored by Harbor Freight at all, but you know, when it's a good deal, it's a good deal. I like these Bauer tools, but one of the things that they had is the old grinder really didn't have very much power, and so they came out with this one, and I think these are brushless. But it doesn't say, I can't find it anywhere in the box, but it does have a B at the end of the part number, which tells me probably it's brushless. These have a lot more power. I like to use cordless grinders, even though they don't have as much power as the other ones, because I hate all the cords, because I've already got, you know, I've already got a welding ground, I've already got the, you know, the torch and everything, and when I'm just doing some quick grinding, I like to use cordless ones. So I have one with a cutoff wheel on it, and then I have one with, you know, a flap width disc on it with 40, and I end up switching it. Sometimes I go to 80 and 120 depending on what I'm doing. I don't like to try and make everything look perfect, so the filler does that for me. So anyway, but these things they really stepped up their game on these, and they're only $39. So this has a small battery on it. I have the bigger batteries usually, and the reason I get the Bauer ones versus the Milwaukee is because the batteries are super cheap to replace, and you know, the Milwaukee has a great warranty and everything else, but I have to give them the tool to warranty it. This thing, you know, for 39 bucks, I just run down and buy another one. You know, it's that cheap, and you know, the batteries are 20 bucks. And so if your battery goes out, you have to send it in to Milwaukee and have them, you know, replace it. They send you back another one, no problem, within 5 years. But, you know, for $20, I'd just rather just run down, grab one, get back and work again, and not have to pay 90 bucks for a battery because, you know, because I needed another battery right then. You know, it's just not worth it. So these are pretty good. And one thing that's really cool, let me show you, this is what I want to show you, I forgot, is this guard. Usually I take these off, but this has a quick release guard on it. So you can flip this around to whatever position you want and then tighten it so that it doesn't, you know, get your arms all covered in metal shavings. Really nice tool to have. Just something you guys, if you're doing metal work, you might want to grab one of these things. Pretty cool. Oh yeah, listen to it. This sounds brushless. That's definitely brushless. See how it just immediately fires up like that? All right, let's take a quick look here. Just about ready for, just gotta do a little bit of hammer work in here. I'm gonna throw some, I'm just gonna seam seal that in. It's not gonna matter much. I'll sand all this all down, get the surface rust cleaned up again, and then I'll probably retreat it and then start filling this in. Sand it down and, you know, definitely get rid of all the surface rust and all that. Yeah, it's all in there, and from here out, there might be some tweaking, but everything should be lining up. Just gonna drill and weld these last few. Does anybody know what this is? Let's fill it with air. It's welcome to the Slingshot channel. Ha 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 ha. Ever heard that guy? No. You got to be careful if you say something like that, because you never know. I mean, just shut off your monetization like that. You know, stupid. Anyway, this is to put on tire beads. We'll fill it up with air. All right, check it out. Fill this sucker up with air. And then we'll get our tires back beaded up. The biggest issue with, putting tires on in the house is getting the air in them. It's not, putting them on the bead only takes, or taking them on and off the rim only takes seconds. But getting them to air up is always a problem. So these are the way to handle that. I'll show you how they work. If you've never seen one, you'll be amazed. All right, it's got a little leak, so it's gonna go quick. Noise alert. Try again. It is very loud. The tank has a little bit of a leak. I gotta redo it here, but bang, noise alert again, guys. It's gonna come real quick because I got to do this fast. That put the air in it. Guys, see how that works? Some guys use ether. I tried that, and I don't know, maybe the ether's watered down today, but got to be careful because this thing clips on, and if you forget about it, you're gonna blow your tire up. So I have another one for that. I'll show you in a second. Got tired of the Harbor Freight junk, so I got one off Amazon. I don't know if it's any better. Might be the same, right? Gives you digital reading. That's kind of nice. It's got rubber around it, so at least if you drop it, it won't. I'll just put maybe, yeah, about 38. Put the valve cap back on and move on to the next tire. We'll check it out. Fill it up with air again. It does leak around that big one, so I'm gonna have to take it off, put more Teflon tape on there, and figure out why it's not leaking, or why it's leaking. Just a little bit. So you gotta act kind of quickly. It is the cheapest one. They have ones that are really expensive, like 300 bucks. And this one was like 60, 70, somewhere in there. So if you put it on a 5-gallon bucket like that, makes it a lot easier. I was going to try it on the ground because I thought maybe it would just do it anyway. But what it needs is a place for the air to go into. So if it's hanging on the bottom bead, then when you hit it with the air, it'll just pop it on the top. Let's try it and see if it does it without putting the air on, just to see if I can just pop it on the bead. Let's try it. Ready? All right, noise alert. Let's see. Almost. I think it did. Whoa, that is loud. Woo! That is much louder out here than it is in the video, I'm sure. Did it work? I think it is. Why that's not working? Oh, you made in China. That's probably why. There it goes. No, it's made in, Mike can't put it on the right way. That's what's wrong. Pretty cool tool, isn't it? And now that is a necessary thing. A tire changer really is kind of not really needed. Taking them on and off the rim is really easy to do on the ground. But putting air in them, which doesn't come on the Harbor Freight tire changer, is always the problem. You can put a strap around it, you know, and all that, and sometimes it works, sometimes not. All right, should we do one more? What do you guys think? One more, it's fun. Ha 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 ha. All right, cover your ears. It's coming fast. Ha! That is loud. I even put the battery in wrong. Uh-oh. Made in China alert. Yeah, it's still beating it up. All right, enough fun. I'll do the last one without you guys. got to continue on with this firewall, get this all done. I primed some of these areas, did a little bit of filler, primed them, and you can see how much better they look like that. And over there, still going to do a little bit more to that, but I got to get all that done before I can put this rack on. So I'm focusing on right now finishing some of this stuff here, finishing doing that one like this. And I did notice, I'll show you guys here, I mean, that is so much stronger. This is like now part of the cab, and once I do that side, it'll be part of the cab. It really strengthens this whole thing up. And I mean, it was already strong before, but it takes the stress out of that one weak point in the frame, and then kind of ties it into the body, which is all connected to the front frame, and just makes it all one uniform piece, which is, this is a unibody car. That's how they're built, to make everything together. So, and then once this frame is put on the top here with all square tubing, it's like way stronger than the original. This thing will hold that machine really nice. It'll work out really good. So a little bit later, we're gonna prime all that. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this welding here on that, put in those two pieces over there, make them look kind of like here. Then I'll clean this up with a little filler. We'll take a look at it a little bit later. Yeah, it's working on my fills over here. Patched up that weak area there. I'm gonna get the filler going on over here too, and see how that looks. So I just kind of went through, did it. I had to do a lot of that by hand. You know, I know the lines are real rough, but you know, you're gonna be way over there. So let's see, how does it look from about that far away? Not too bad. I'll be doing a little more sanding on it, and then that's what I'm talking about. It'll just be, you'll see the lines in it, and that'll be about all you'll see from over there. And it's kind of shadowed by that frame piece anyway. But that's what I'm saying. When I get all done with everything, it's not gonna be perfect in here, but you know, when you open it up, you're not gonna really see anything. What do you guys think? All right, so let's take a look here at, you know, this is the first coat of primer. I just shot it on here real quick, and just wanted to get everything, you know, coated once. Then I'll go through and sand it down again, put another coat of primer probably, and then not much more than that, and then some seam sealer on areas, and then paint all of this. But I'm gonna have the rack in when I do that. This is just like, you know, to kind of make it look like a car again, and then just go through and just prime it again. So that's what it looks like. You know, the bodywork looks weak in here, of course. Didn't expect it to look good on a, you know, on a jam. When it's got, you know, the top bed pieces on here and everything, and that's way far in the corner, you're not going to really see that. You just kind of see the little things there, that they're there. When you look in the door, it'll kind of replicate, you know, somewhat original. Same thing over here. And then, you know, I'm, like I said, when I get done maybe blocking it again, but it's really hard to get in there with your hands. It's just, you almost have to lay down to do it, and you can't, you know, you can use one hand or not the other, and it's just not a fun place to work. So it's not going to get much, you know. I'm not going to go in there and sit there and cherry all that out. There's no reason to. So, you know, over here, you know, it's all, then I'm going to go through and then seam seal everything. At least I can see it all, since it's got primer on it now. So a little bit of stuff I still need to prime over here, but kind of ran out, so I just figured I'll just run with what I got. At this point, I'm gonna, now I've got the tires on it. Wanted to get some of that stuff done so that when I take it over the other area, I can actually put the rack on pretty quickly. I think I'll have to still sand this one more time after it's over there. But I don't want to have, you know, the rack takes up a lot of space. This thing takes a lot of space, you know. I can't really have both of those things in the same area. But it's really hard to work on this thing when it's up on the lift like this, because I'm just constantly walking around the poles and climbing up in it and stuff. So I need to get it out of here. So next video for sure. I know I've been saying for a while, I was going to work on that rocker, but that rocker's in the way with the lift, you know. So it's like, it's much easier for this point just to get it over there and start working on it and be able to climb up in there and not have to go up on the lift and all that stuff. But like I said, I want to just move the rack once or twice. I don't want to have to move the heavy thing a bunch of times. And it's starting to look pretty good though. If you can see wheels on it, boy, it looks really cool. Those wheels on there. It's funny, there's a lot of people saying we should call it Lazarus, you know, because Lazarus was, if anybody doesn't know, you know, I'll tell you the quick story, is Lazarus was the brother of Mary and Martha, and he was really sick, and they came to Jesus and said, hey, can you come over? I know you can heal him. And he goes, you know, I'll get to it in a couple of days, you know, or they sent to him, you know, and he was in another city, you know, a couple miles away, and he said, you know, I'll get to it, you know. And then when he got there, of course, Lazarus was dead, and he was dead. He was like dead 4 days in a tomb. Okay, so you know, this truck kind of replicates that. This truck was dead. There was no. And then, you know, when Jesus came, he told him, you know, they rolled away the rock, and when he was in the tomb, and he got up and walked out when Jesus called him. So the same thing with this thing is it was dead. It was dead. It was, you know, this thing, there's no saving this. The gurus looked at it. They went, oh, yeah, it's a cool truck, but it ain't worth my time. And, you know, so I've gotten comments to me say, oh, you know, you're doing, you know, amateur work. An amateur wouldn't do this at all. But I'm just saying, you know, I thought it's kind of funny. I love those comments. They just crack me up, actually. It's kind of a morbid humor to me. So I look at those things and I'm like, oh my God, no way, crazy. But you know, all the gurus looked at this, or a bunch of gurus looked at it, and they gave up on it. They said no. And you know, it was at my buddy's shop, and he needs room for something else, and I can't say anything about it, but this thing was kind of in the way, and he's like, hey, you know, why don't you just take it, and we'll, you know, maybe you want it, you know. I'm like, well, yeah, well, you know, I don't know. It was kind of like, well, it'll be great for YouTube, but man, that's a lot of work. So I got to limit what I'm doing to it. I don't want to spend 5 years, you know, of my life. You know, if you think about it, this is where people think they forget when they're doing a build, they forget what they're doing. And they think, you know, they just think about the build. And, you know, if you walked up to a person in the cancer ward and you said to them, what would you do to get 4 more years of your life? So this is going to take me 6 months or so to build this, right? This truck. And if I did it right, quote unquote, you know, according to everyone, or the standards of people today, or whatever, if I did it right, which I think what I'm doing is really right for the vehicle. But if I did it to their standards of right, it would take me 5 years. And, you know, you got to think about, you could ask them in a cancer ward, what would you do for 4 more years of your life? Would you think they would say, I think I'd use the time to build an old truck? How many of them would say that? Nobody would say that. So, you know, when you think about your car, you think about, okay, what kind of a time investment do I want to put into this? And this is what I tell people a lot in the videos that I make is, you know, you need to think about what your time investment is going to be, and you need to stick to it. And if your time investment is 5 years, well, then that's okay. You're going to spend 5 years of life. I wouldn't do that. I would rather go on vacation. I'd rather go to the beach. I'd rather do, you know, a lot of other things for that extra 15% of nice. So this will be about 85% nice, okay, which to me is a very nice vehicle. If I wanted to go 100%, it'd take me 5 years. So do I want to spend 5 years for that 15%? Absolutely not. It's a decision that you make when you're building something. So I want you guys to think about that for your cars, and kind of think about what, you know, how much time you're investing into it and how much time you're willing to give to it, and stick to your time, and you know, and figure out how to do the job and get it done in the time you want it done. This is the way that I'm doing it, because it'll keep me in my time budget. It'll still be a nice looking car. It's still going to work great. It's still going to be, you know, it's not going to be like on Mitch Burzma's channel where he's doing his, where, you know, I'm not saying anything negative about him. He's doing a great job. That's his choice. I would never do that because I just don't want to invest that much time. And maybe he doesn't know he's going to be in that much time in it, but he'll find out eventually. And that's why I always tell people, you know, think about that stuff when you start your car, when you build it, and don't let the car control your life. You control the car's life. And that's the way that I build stuff. So if that makes sense to you, make a comment, you know, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on that. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. And the next video, we will definitely be moving this out from where it's at. How we move it is going to be fun. Stick around, come back for the next video. I'll talk to you in that one. Please dare share, like, share, and subscribe.